Hello! Hi everyone! Hope you are well, or as you possibly can be, given the circumstances of existing right now. I thought you wouldn't be able to see that I'm wearing pajama pants, and that has been proven false, but that's fine. I have nothing to hide. So, I think we all know that we have had a very intense eclipse happen yesterday, or like really early yesterday, so maybe like the day before night or whatever, but I kind of wanted to come on here and do like a little eclipse review, update, follow-up, just because eclipses, that energy it's not a one-time thing and it's not a one-night shot. It is an energy that cultivates and it's an energy that unveils over a given amount of time. So I kind of wanted to have an update, or rather just sort of give some insight on how we can deal with the energies moving forward from what a powerful, powerful eclipse that was and still is and will continue to be through this whole eclipse season. This is, that's not the only one that we're going to be dealing with in the month of December. So I'm very excited to see how the rest of this unveils. But dealing with this full moon in Gemini eclipse, I really want to review the fact that this is life-shifting energy. This is not just your everyday walk in the park, your everyday, I'm just going to burn some like intentions and release it. This is very much like, what are you going to let go in order to step into this new version of yourself, this new life that you have been building this entire year, consciously and subconsciously? You know, I really want, I don't know if I said this in the last live, because I've been doing so many like workshops and stuff that I don't know what I say where, but let me leave this here. But the environment that you're in, the physical environment, the relationships, the career, the mindset that you're in is not going to be recognizable a year from now, even a few months from now, truthfully. We are in a period of transformation, of ascension. And if you feel any sort of stuck or stagnant energy, know that that is completely being dissipated right now. We're moving into a state of evolution. And so that is why this eclipse is coming to say, you know, as the universe and as your guides and as, you know, all that is guiding you, I have been as gentle as I possibly could be in removing what does not serve this new phase of your life, this new era of you. But if there are any lingering loose ends, if there's anything that needs to get cut out, that needs to be given up, the universe is just not interested in being gentle about it anymore. It's definitely on some like, let it go or I'm gonna take it for you type shit. Sorry to say it so frankly, but I needed to, because we're holding on to attachments out of fear, and we need to be leading from a place of intuition. So the reason why I really wanted to come on here is because there's this huge emphasis on stepping back into honoring and listening to our intuition. I think that at times we can get uncomfortable with strengthening our third eye or really being led from a space of intuition and from a space of our inner compass, because at times we can confuse what voice is our fear and our ego with what is actually our divinely led intuitive compass. Because, you know, sometimes if you want to run away from something, you don't know if that's your energy repelling it or if that's your fear telling you that you're not worthy of it, or it's going to hurt you, or it's not going to be good for you. So it's imperative that you decipher what's the difference between two voices, or the two voices, simply by being still, embracing peace, embracing stillness, connecting with your center, and really honing in on what does my intuition sound like and what does my fear sound like. Because there is a difference. You know, your fear is always, your ego is always going to speak from a place of fear. So it's going to try to scare you, as opposed to your intuition is speaking from a place of protection, a place of guidance, a place of ascension and evolution. So that is something that I really wanted to say. What else do I have? Yeah, so let these next few weeks, and especially these next 2 weeks, unfold exactly as they are meant to. I think, you know, with eclipses, we can think that there's going to be a very sudden realization or revelation or change and shift. But sometimes that can happen, or other times there's like a hidden truth that slowly unravels. So if you're seeing somebody start to show their true colors right now, or if you're seeing something unfold that seems a bit sketchy to you, just keep your eye on that for the next 2 weeks, because I feel like that's going to connect with what it is that you need to be releasing or reconstructing or rewiring, or simply just fully getting rid of. So be attentive these next 2 weeks. Don't be reactive though. Let it happen, let it unfold. Don't think that you need to, right now I wouldn't say now is a time of action, and maybe the time of planning that action, but it's not the time necessarily of acting, right? It's not the time of it's definitely not the time of starting up anything, right? I mean, Gemini definitely connects us back to our ideas and our inspired ideas at that. So if there are, projects that you find yourself gravitating back towards, you can start to, blueprint it or outline it. But right now, I would really advise you to just embrace a period of stillness and feel out what this energy is calling you to do. Keep your eye out in these next 2 weeks for how you feel intuitively and energetically. If you're around any friends this week, safely, I'm hoping 6 feet away with a mask, see how you energetically feel around them. When you're doing your job, see how you energetically feel about it. If you all of a sudden are seeing visions of a place in a world that you've never been to, and you all of a sudden are called to not even just visit, but maybe even start a life there, honor that. See why your intuition is speaking to you right now. The veil is incredibly thin. And if we are open to communicating with the universe will communicate back to us in a language that we understand, whether that's through synchronicities or songs or lyrics or tweets or whatever it is that you see that resonates with you, you're being communicated with. What else do I have? You may be in a state of overthinking. This note is also for me because, mind you, I never come from a place of superiority or thinking that I know everything and I'm going to share it with you. I'm experiencing this process alongside every fellow fucking human. So I know that this specific note is very in alignment with what's going on, and I wanted to share it with you guys that because this full moon eclipse, hey Jeff, my king, because this full moon eclipse was in the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, we can be really, really trapped in our thoughts right now. It's really imperative that we stop overthinking. Stop overthinking. We need to be led from a place of intuition, and our intuition cannot be heard if we are thinking over it, or if we're planning over it, if we're honoring mechanics as opposed to honoring how we're emotionally led. So stop thinking and just start feeling your way through. And there's an emphasis on destiny. A lot of the things that are happening right now are fated and karmic events, period. A lot of the things that are happening right now are fated and karmic events. It can unfold for everybody very individually depending on where the south and north nodes fall in your chart. But these are fated and karmic events. And so it's imperative that when we're faced with these fated and karmic events, we do not overthink them. We don't break down every detail and the detail under that, but rather we just sit with ourselves and feel out just how our moral compass is guiding us. Check in and see, what is my gut? What is my soul telling me? Not what my mind is telling me, not what my ego is telling me. What is my soul telling me? And how can I feel my way through this instead of planning it out? You can't decide love. You can't decide your own karmic events. You can simply experience them through emotion. I hope that makes sense. I just hope it makes sense. And I have some cards that I'm going to share as well. I wonder if I should do that now or if I should get to a couple more points. Where you're at now is not where you're going to be very soon. So it's important that you honor these fated and karmic events because they are all unfolding in order to... Hi, Hannah Finance! All of these fated and karmic events are all unfolding in order to support this new step in your personal evolution. So honor the ideas that are coming up right now because Gemini is very mindful, it's very creative. So honor everything that's showing up right now, but know that an idea is simply an idea unless you honor it with commitment and with consistency. So don't think that, I have this dream for myself and it will unfold because it's mine. You do also need to put in that effort and that consistent dedication to it. So honor that and always come back to intuition. I can't stress enough how imperative right now our intuitive compass is. So if you have these ideas, if you have this landscape for yourself that you see, know that it is yours and know that now is the period of sitting still with yourself, seeing how you intuitively feel about it and not being married to the idea of acting, but married to the idea of just feeling how it feels and how it sits with you. I think that right now we're overwhelmed with how many paths are opening in front of us. And we want to see the end results before we embark on any path. We think, well, if I'm going to make this choice and that choice is going to lead to that choice and that choice is going to lead to that choice, what is the end result going to look like before I commit to it? And truthfully, we're never going to know. We're never going to know how it ends. But we simply know that this step is a step that we want to take because it feels intuitively right. And if we're always being led by intuition, we can never be led astray. So, we can also practice, we have clairvoyant powers, all of us. So there's a way to predict the future simply by choosing it and simply by sitting with yourself and saying, does this path that I want to embark on, does it feel intuitively right to me? And I don't know if I have any other points before I get to the cards. Yeah, this is the last month of the year, so it's really a beautiful time to get clear on how you want your destiny to unfold. You know, we only have so much control over karma, but truthfully, there is no right or wrong path. There is only the path that we choose and how we choose to experience it, how we choose to view how it unfolds, right? Our experiences are directly derivative of how we allow ourselves to accept it, whether we choose to fight against it, whether we choose to hate it, or whether we choose to see the beauty in it and know that we had the control over committing to it. I'm speaking so convoluted, and that is literally the Gemini. It's the Gemini energy. I have nothing else to say about it. So the cards that I pulled. So if this eclipse served as a catalyst in you facing directly what it is that you maybe need to let go and how that can be in any sort of way difficult or strenuous in your emotional bank, know that the first card that I pulled is the Power card, which, I mean, it's power in this deck, but it's directly connected to the Tarot Strength card. And I just want you to look at this moment right now, this power. And, you know, when we see the Power card, obviously it's a very intense and powerful energy, but it has nothing to do with physical strength and everything to do with inner strength. Sometimes cutting cords that you know are meant to serve your greatest and highest good are difficult. Sometimes change is just scary. You know, embarking on a new career path or new relationship or starting a new, you know, study, whatever it is that you are feeling called to do in the next step of your evolution, even though it invigorates you with excitement, it's also scary. Because it's change and it's new and it calls and it asks something of you that is challenging. But knowing that you are capable of pushing through it, of saying yes to yourself, of doing it, of having that conversation, of quitting that job, of taking that leap of faith, the inner strength that takes is within you and will lead you to a brand new chapter. I mean, I pulled 3 cards, so these are the 3. This is the second one, which is Love Begins. And it's just, I mean, look at the peace. Look at the peace and the tranquility here. I mean, truthfully, it's this notion of, you know, when you do say yes to yourself and when you do have those hard conversations or when you do leave those, you know, toxic environments or those things that no longer serve you, you are saying yes to a new chapter to yourself and you are saying yes to the next step in your own personal evolution. And in that, you can comfortably build a new foundation for yourself. I also want to just note, the rainbows that came out in both of these cards, and rainbows don't show up. Rainbows are products of storms, right? They're products of it's almost like it's a reward for knowing that you weathered the storm. And to have these come back to back after such a strenuous energy and after being asked of something that is so intense of you is call for excitement. It's call for celebration. So knowing that, you know, by you having the inner strength to say yes to yourself and to face those hardships that you're being asked to cut off right now, knowing that that's allowing you to embark in a new chapter in your life and a new step in your personal evolution and eventually build a home there. You know, we don't always want to be nomadic. We can interweave adventure and changing. This aligns. I love that for you. Thank you so much for joining. But, you know, we can embrace change in our daily routines, right? But at the end of the day, we do want to build a home somewhere. We do want to build a foundation somewhere, but we want to make sure that we're building a foundation in a space that is supportive of our best and highest versions of ourselves, right? We want to make sure that we're, you know, setting up camp in the life that is supportive of just the highest possible timeline for ourselves. We can choose to stay in comfortable and low functioning timelines if that's what we want. We can choose to settle, or we can say yes to the fact that we are capable of doing the hard tasks that it takes in order for us to evolve and be in that highest possible vibration. And set up camp. And yeah, like I said, the rainbows are very indicative of the fact that I know this is hard, but you will be rewarded. And lastly, I pulled some cards from it's called the Power of Surrender deck because, hi, thank you for joining. The Power of Surrender deck because this eclipse is just calling us to let go. It's calling us to surrender. So I wanted to know what are some of the things that we need to be releasing. Obviously, this will definitely be very personal to you and very specific to whatever it is that you are experiencing. And of course, where the South and North nodes and the moon falls in your chart and in your houses. But in general, and I think this resonates with everyone, The first one is to surrender to inner peace, because we are in this state of overthinking, where our minds are in overdrive because we're being led by Mercury right now. It can be really hard to find any sort of silence and any sort of stillness in the scenarios that we're tying ourselves to, in the ways that we are overthinking literally everything. So surrender to silence and surrender to inner peace were the first two cards that came out, and I think that they're really, really, really imperative that we listen to. It says, in quiet meditation or contemplation, let go and enter the stillness within. Silence can heal and replenish you, and building off of that, silence is how we connect to our intuition. It's how we find guidance within our own inner compass. We will constantly confuse our ego with our intuition if we don't embrace stillness and silence and just cut off all of the external noise and listen to actually what is going on within our gut. And surrender to inner peace. We always have access to peace, and whatever that looks like for you. Find yourself in whatever state you need to be in where you feel the most peaceful, whether that's just laying in your bed, or that's scrolling on TikTok, or that's walking on the beach. This is a really, really, really revved up time. It's a really emotionally intense time. And so it's imperative that you find and build and commit to a routine where you do feel anchored in your own peace, even if it's for 10 minutes a day, because that is how you're going to be able to be replenished enough to keep going, because there is work that's being called of you. And the last two are surrender frustration and surrender your attachment to results. So this goes hand in hand with what I was just saying about the fact that sometimes we don't want to take the leap of faith because we don't know what the end result is. And if we don't know what the end result is, we don't want to risk it. And so we'd rather stay safe and stay in these comfortable and, okay jobs or okay relationships or okay realities that, mind you, I think, I don't know if I said this last time. I could have also just been repeating, but there are so many different timelines, and we think that there's a bunch of bad timelines and one good timeline, but that's not true. We can choose to stay in a timeline that is comfortable and that is safe. And, we will be surrendering a sense of power and a sense of passion, but at least we'll be financially secure, or at least we'll be emotionally secure. And if that's your choice, if you really do want to stay in, the job that doesn't give you passion, but will take care of you, or the relationship that you aren't really in emotionally, but it gives you some sort of security, you can choose that. But if you are one of the people who, on the other side of this eclipse portal, wants to say yes to yourself, wants to evolve, wants to actually say, no, I am deserving of being in the highest possible vibration on the highest possible timeline, because this is the one existence that I am at the very least conscious of, then you're going to have to take those leaps of faith. You're going to have to call on your inner strength and know that you're going to have some hard decisions. But at the end of the day, it's going to bring the rainbow out, like I've showed you in, all these damn cards. Hold on. That is how we're going to step into this place of alignment. But we have to know that we're not going to see the end result before we do it. And so we just have to trust ourselves and our own intuitive compass and surrender to our attachments to the results. Because at the end of the day, our experience, it's our choice. Thank you, my love. It's always our choice. Our reality is it's the end result of our choices, and the choice after that, and the choice after that. There's no, I read a quote today that was like, there's no such thing as fate, there's only choice. And honestly, I feel like that really resonates. So it's really up to you how you want to experience your reality. But surrendering to your attachment to the results. The formula for success is to do all you can to make things happen and then let go of the results. Holding on too tightly to a desired outcome can sabotage it. All you can do is trust and believe in yourself and know that you took that step and that step was led from a place of intuition. And that's all you can do. And the rest will unfold exactly as it's meant to. And best case scenario, I'm telling you. And lastly, surrender frustration. We may be in a state of overthinking, and that may drive us into a place of frustration because, duh, how does overthinking not? But when you surrender that and know that at the end of the day, all you can do is all you can do, and the rest is just not yours, you can find your way back to peace. So frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup. I've said this a million times, but I say enough. Hi, thank you for joining. I've said this a million times, but I'll have to say it once again, that we can only decipher the difference between our ego and our intuition if we find ourselves in a place of stillness and we just quiet the mind. So without further ado, the journaling prompt that I would definitely encourage you to work with, and the chakra and the color that I would encourage you to work with, is the third eye, indigo, a deep purple. Really connect with your own intuitive seat, because at the end of the day, you can seek counsel in every external source, your friends, your family, your Reiki masters, the people that you go to for tarot readings, but you always know what's best for you. And if you feel like you don't know what's best for you, it's because you're getting tripped up in your own fear or your own ego, or the thought of, well, what if this is the wrong choice? Or what if I'm going down the wrong path? And so it's imperative that right now you find stillness and you just quiet everything but your gut. And you just hear what your intuition has to tell you. You just hear where your gut is telling you to go, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So journal on it. Journal on what has your intuition been telling you. How have you been questioning your intuition when it's been loud and screaming and banging on barrels? And how can you honor your intuition? Whether that is, maybe taking up that course that you are feeling really intuitively called to, or leaving that relationship, or moving, or starting new careers. Whatever your intuition is telling you right now is such a karmic and fated time. I cannot stress that enough. Everything that is going on with this last eclipse up until the end of this eclipse season, which I believe is the end of December, is incredibly fated and incredibly imperative in the next step in your personal evolution. So be attentive these next 2 weeks, because things are going to unfold slowly but boldly. And know that you're fine. Know that everything will unfold exactly as it's meant to, and that you are deserving of being in your highest possible timeline, and that you should never settle. You should absolutely never settle. And sometimes settling looks nice. Sometimes you can settle in a cottage with like nice sheets and like brewing tea, but there's also castles. So carry that with you, if you will. But thank you so much for everyone who joined live. I'm going to be sharing this on YouTube. So subscribe or follow. And otherwise, I just love each and every one of you, and I hope that you're well and doing as well as you possibly can be. It's a crazy time, but we're in this together. That's all. Have a good day.